Okay, I promise I am not trying to tick you off, but can I ask you a couple of earnest questions about the Epstein Files? In the last week, how many hours have you spent reading through the Epstein Files or consuming content from social media creators about the Epstein Files? Second question, what if you didn't? What if you didn't read any more of the Epstein Files? What if you didn't listen to another creator speculating wildly, promoting conspiracy theories about the Epstein Files because they know that they will make thousands of dollars off of that video? What if you stopped traumatizing yourself on a daily basis by reading through the Epstein Files? What would happen? What would happen? And actually what I'm really getting at is, how is it that watching video after video, marinating in the Epstein Files, searching up all of the search words, speculating wildly about what various terms might mean, what about all of that is helping get us even one step closer to getting justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims? Please ask yourself, are the victims any closer to getting justice because you spend hours and hours sitting on your sofa looking through the files and watching conspiracy theory vids by grifty creators? How else could you be using that time to help organize to fight the PDF file protectors in the Republican Party and the regime and actually help enact justice? Something I'm always trying to ask myself is, who benefits? Are my actions and how I am choosing to spend my time and resources helping the pro-democracy resistance? Who benefits from the way I am spending my time and the actions I am undertaking? Who is benefiting when I am distracted? Because low-key, I think a lot of us are falling for a psyop. It sure is distracting, sure sucks up an awful lot of your time to be hunting through the Epstein Files for special keywords and whipping up conspiracy theories and comparing notes and seeing what grifty creator over here is saying about how Jeffrey Epstein's not really dead and how this creator over here is saying, gosh, that's not actually Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. I got some flack the other day for saying that consuming news stories is not activism. It's just not. And likewise, y'all, with all love, how much time are you frittering away on the Epstein Files? Are you mistaking traumatizing yourself, being horrified, consuming vast quantities of information with actually taking steps to help us get to a place where we can get justice? Because what we need to get justice is to get the fascist GOP pedophile protectors out of Congress, right? To have elected representatives who will actually open investigations, who will actually do what is required to get justice, and also will work to get the kinds of political reforms to revamp the system so that this does not happen again, right? Because it is the systems of power. It is the way that we have set up our society with Citizens United so that the billionaires have all of this ridiculous power and control. Not just Citizens United, also our tax structure, so that billionaires have just unfucking believable amounts of control over our government, our policies, and therefore have been able to control members of our government, of our Department of Justice, in order to protect themselves from facing prosecution for trafficking children. If we actually want justice for Epstein's victims, instead of treating all of this nightmare like a true crime podcast that we consume for our horror and entertainment, right? We're just sitting there with our bowl of popcorn, looking through all of it and just being shocked and outraged, but not doing anything with our outrage to stop this. Then what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? When I was 18, I read this book called Your Money or Your Life, and it really transformed the way I think about labor. I think about the economy, I think about money in general. It kind of launched me on my path to becoming an anti-capitalist. And in that book, they encourage you to think about objects that you purchase, not in terms of dollars, but in terms of life hours, right? So my laptop cost me $800. It's not that it's $800, it's how many hours of my life did I have to spend that I will never get back in order to earn enough money to buy that $800 laptop. And I think about everything that I do in terms of life hours spent, because that is a currency that we can never recover. Once we have spent it, we will never, ever get that time back. And so it really causes me to think about who benefits when I waste my time, who benefits when I spend my life hours in ways that don't help me, that don't help my neighbors, that don't help us create a better world. Who benefits from that? Because there's an awful lot of money. There's an awful lot of entities who want you to be distracted. They want you to waste your life hours. So I will ask you one more time, who benefits by you being immersed in the Epstein files for hours every week, or some people hours a day, searching up terms, comparing conspiracy theory notes, going down a blue anon pipeline, right? We already know that there are grifty social media creators, and a number of them, y'all, are MAGA. A number of them are MAGA, who want you all whipped up and focused on their shitty, easily debunked content that has you flipping out that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. I don't even think you realize how many thousands of dollars people make per video, how much of a financial incentive they have to just barf out the most irresponsible shit about the Epstein files, because it's titillating, it's horrifying. It gets you to click on it and waste, 20, 30, 40 minutes on their video. Is that getting us any closer to getting justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims? No, but it's helping those creators earn 6 figures, 7 figures. And you might say, well, that's rich, Angela. You're a social media creator. Yeah, and I'm always encouraging people to set limits to how much they are consuming. I consider myself an activist first. And if my content is not prompting you to act, to organize, to reach out to your local grassroots groups and become part of the resistance, then I'm not doing my job. I'm also always encouraging people to set healthy limits to how much news they are consuming. If a news story is causing you to freak the fuck out, if a certain topic paralyzes you with fear, don't read those news stories. Read 4 stories in a day and then shut it all down. Don't read anymore. Likewise with the Epstein files. Do you really need to read anymore? What purpose does that serve? Is it entertaining you? Is it traumatizing you? Why are you doing it? Are you turning it into a true crime podcast? Are you turning it into your own personal satanic panic? Because God knows Blue Anon sure is. It's becoming a satanic panic, and it's not helping the victims at all. In fact, we have heard from the victims themselves, y'all. Just go watch what they have said in press conferences. That should be enough for you to do the things that are asked of all of us in order to stop this. If we want justice for Jeffrey Epstein's victims, we don't actually have to read anything else in the files at all. We know what we need to be doing. The GOP PDF file protectors benefit when you waste your life hours being absorbed in all of the horrors of the Epstein files. They would love nothing better than for you to spend all of your time distracted by what's in the Epstein files and not looking at the ways they are trying to dump you off the voter rolls, to dump your neighbors off the voter rolls, to make it harder for 10 million plus women to vote, to distract you from the fact that immigrants in your community need to be fed and protected, that children need to be protected so they can get to and from school without being abducted. Mutual aid is the core of any effective resistance movement. So the Republicans would love nothing better than for you to spend all of your time doing a Blue Anon and have nothing left for mutual aid. They want you so busy combing through horror after horror after horror that you don't have time, or you don't even notice that you need to be organizing with your neighbors and lobbying your city council and your land use board to prevent that warehouse from getting turned into one of Stephen Miller's concentration camps. I'm not mad at people who I would argue are spending too much time in the Epstein files speculating on theories around them. I am mad at an awful lot of grifty creators who think that this is their cash cow. Making irresponsible content off of child CSA, child trafficking, is their cash cow. This is something that they look at the Epstein files and they think like, oh, I can make a buck if I talk about this, and I don't bother to cross-check or do any due diligence at all. I just search up a term and then I freak the fuck out over it and I get my audience all wound up. Cool, couple thousand right in my pocket. I also think we should remember how much information the government put out that was improperly redacted exposed victims to being re-victimized by millions and millions of people. The government put out CSAM. I think the government did it on purpose, right? How many PDF file men out there are just like loving the fact that all of this information has been dumped. We're looking at some of this stuff and being horrified. They're enjoying it. They're getting off on it. This massive dump of information was meant to distract you. It was meant to overwhelm you, not only with the horrors of what they have done, but also the way it's so disorganized. Parts have been translated from other languages, but you don't know if it's translated or not, and if there's mistranslations in it. And yet people are hunting for keywords, trying to find connections. Their brains are going to conspiracy theory places. All of that is intentional, y'all. The way these files have been released, because they were forced by a court, they were forced by law to have to release this information. They're going to do it in a way that causes maximum damage, that does as much as it possibly can to prevent the victims from ever getting justice and to distract the American people. Please be aware. Please be aware of what you're doing. And please be aware of who benefits by the way that they have released this information and how you interact with it. We have so much work that we have to be doing, y'all. Think about how you spend your life hours.